I think this is a very important question, is how, how do we transmit yoga? And that, of course, has to be connected with how do we receive it. A big issue that I see in the current world of Hatha Yoga is that the training, the teacher training programs, are not really keeping up with our state of understanding of the history and the evolution and the character of yoga from a historical perspective. There is very little attention placed to what is called the philosophy of yoga, which is really not the right word, but anyhow, it's what we call it, the yoga philosophy. There's very little attention placed on that. And most of the attention in teacher training programs goes to things like the anatomy and the alignment and so on, the sequence, all those things. And not a lot of attention is given to the roots. And I think this is a serious issue that needs to be addressed. Why? Because if I'm not rooted in the tradition, then I don't really have a good understanding of the character, the purpose, even the goals, or even the tools. I mean, a lot of what we are discovering with recent academic research on Hatha Yoga is very enlightening, it's very interesting. We can see the evolution of Hatha Yoga itself historically, see what are the most important practices originally. So how does it differ from the way it is being taught in the modern world? So I think if a person studies, the history, for example, of Hatha Yoga or of yoga more broadly, even better, and then they are very informed and they decide consciously, no, I'm not going to teach, say, the spiritual aspects of it, or no, I'm not going to teach this, or no, I'm not going to teach that. If that decision is made consciously and in an informed manner, I have no problem with that, because one has to respect the freedom of anybody to practice it and transmit it any way they want. But if those choices are being made out of ignorance, then I do have a problem with that. Because then I think we are really shortchanging people. We are not serving people well. And so we really need to look at this issue of the teacher trainings and how much attention we are paying to really linking with the tradition. So when people talk about, sometimes scholars use this expression, modern postural yoga, to describe modern Hatha Yoga, because they say, well, it's different, right? We need a different name for this variety of Hatha Yoga now, because it does differ from the original Hatha Yoga system. So they want to call it modern postural yoga. And I understand, the issue of why a new name, but I don't want to give it a new name. Why? Because I think it is not a conscious decision, but it is an evolution really based fundamentally on an ignorance of the history. So like I said, if somebody said consciously, well, I'm just going to focus on the postures, that's different. That's a decision I would respect, as I said. But if the fact that Hatha Yoga has moved more into that direction of the fitness and the therapeutics and so on, because of a lack of knowledge of the original methodology and the original purpose and so on, then I wouldn't give a name to that. People may accuse me of elitism or whatever, but I wouldn't honor it with a name, because I honestly don't think it's a new form of yoga. It's just an uninformed form of yoga. Mm-hmm. So to me, this is a huge issue that we really need to look into. Hatha Yoga teacher training programs need to step up, and they are not doing so. And still they are woefully inadequate. I mean, students learn a little bit about the Bhagavad Gita, which has nothing to do really with Hatha Yoga. It has a lot to do with yoga more broadly. Then they study Patanjali, Yoga Sutras, and then totally out of context, they think that Patanjali is somehow connected with Hatha Yoga, which it is not. And that's it in most trainings. And if they are lucky, they will study one text of Hatha Yoga, the Hatha Pradipika, and that's it. That's just not enough. So I would like to see a shift in which anybody who wants to teach Hatha Yoga has a good background in terms of the overall history of yoga, so to understand it, and then where Hatha Yoga fits within that picture, and then a good grounding in the history and evolution of Hatha Yoga on the basis of all the latest academic research. So, keeping my fingers crossed, hopefully things will move in that direction.